On this episode, we want to give a shout out to Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. We love this park. When we were deciding to do dad walks, we knew this was the park we wanted to go to. They've got lakes, they've got playgrounds, they've got baseball fields, they've got it all. You've got to check out Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This week we have on producer and podcaster Aaron Shafer-Haiss. We talk about starting a podcast, daily adventures with kids, and making time for yourself as a dad. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah, it seems like every single person that we've talked to, the pandemic has changed their lives drastically.
Yeah.
And for the good,
Luckily,
for the people that we've talked to. So, I mean, how about you? Like,
yeah. In a way, I mean, I had a kid.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big change.
Yeah.
Had my first kid.
Just a bit.
Yeah. You know, I mostly stay at home and produce records now, and I ended up building a studio in my backyard.
I saw that on Instagram. That looks pretty sweet.
Thanks. Yeah. So it was like something that I just drew in a notebook, maybe in like late 2019, just like, oh man, if I ever built a studio in the backyard, it'd look like this. Then when my wife got pregnant, I was like, well, this is the time. And my dad is a retired carpenter. So he came down, we built together.
That's cool.
Yeah. In the 2 months, we finished 2 weeks before my daughter was born. Like, it went from a grass patch in my backyard to a fully finished building in 6 weeks. Pretty much. That's just insane.
The
two of us.
Dang, you guys were hustling.
Did you do any of that through codes? Was that all?
Oh, fully to codes.
Okay, cool.
It was great. I mean, I even wrote them my application for the building permit. I was like, I'm building a recording studio.
Yeah.
Here's because like it used to be illegal to have a recording studio at your house.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was like it was this thing that's something the pandemic changed. It was illegal to run a business at your house.
Okay.
Basically.
Huh.
And the pandemic changed that. It was a guy named Liz Shaw who owns a recording studio in East Nashville, and he has a podcast called Recording Studio Rockstars, I think is the name of it.
Nice.
Which is great. But a neighbor reported him, so he got shut down and then started, this big lawsuit, and I think it was a hairdresser or something like that in his neighborhood or also at Nashville signed on to that as well because she wasn't allowed to have a hair salon in her house for the same reason. And then when the pandemic came around, like everybody was working from home. So finally, I don't think it's technically like a full-on like law that you're allowed to have it now. I think it's still a temporary thing that needs to be like readdressed next year or something. But anyway, by the time I got around to building my recording studio, I was like, first sentence on my email to codes was like, I'm building a recording studio in my backyard. Yeah. This is what this is. And it was permitted as a garage. Every building inspector that shows up is like, cool, so you're building a garage here? I'm like, no, I'm building a recording studio. They're like, yeah, cool, garage. And
like, is this some secret code lingo?
Yeah, I'm like, it's been 20 years of like garage with a wink. Yeah. And even the main building inspector kept coming. He's like, man, this is the nicest garage I've ever seen. I'm like, it's not a garage.
It's not a garage. That's why it's so nice.
You're looking at the full bathroom right there, and all of the rooms that are framed out in the middle here.
Yes.
Anyway, so how did the pandemic change my life? I was, before that, on the road touring with a lot of people and on my busiest year, I think I was out for like 215 days.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was great. My ego loved it, but it wasn't it wasn't satisfying.
Yeah.
I wasn't like any more happy at the end of the year. I was exhausted. And I had a studio in my house, in my basement, and was doing more and more of that. And I kept saying, like, I want to spend more time at home. I want to work in my studio. I want to produce more records. And I was kind of going that way a little bit more. And the pandemic just basically called my bluff. I was like, cool, here you go. Good luck. So in a way I was lucky, like career-wise. I already had all the infrastructure in place and all of that. So it was a pretty easy transition for me, surprisingly.
Yeah. How many years did you spend on tour?
Oh, I mean, I started, I guess, technically touring when I was like, if you call touring like driving to another town to play a show, when I was like 16.
Okay.
And like the first like major tour, a couple weeks of, going out and covering half the country, I was 19.
Oh, okay.
So.
And where'd you start out at?
I grew up in Maine.
Maine? Okay.
Yeah. And then went to college in New York City and lived there, was in and out for 12 years.
Okay.
And then came here from there.
What's the music scene in Maine like?
Pearl Jam's really big. Dave Matthews, like it stopped at like 1994.
Yeah.
It's like Fish, Dave Matthews, like all of that. There's always like one or two like bands that are massive in Maine that do really well. There's a ton of really great musicians. There's a ton of like cool studios and stuff like that. It's just small. I mean, there's 1 million people in the state total.
Yeah.
So, but it's like a few hours to Boston. It's like, depending on where you are, it's 2 or 3 hours to Boston. So a lot of people go there. There's a lot. I actually know more musicians that live in Maine now than I think I ever have.
Okay.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We stayed at a compound off of, is it Lake Sebago?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sebago. Yeah.
Sorry.
Everything is weird pronunciations up there.
But, it was like a compound that had 4 different cabins on it, and like the whole extended family went, and it was on the lake. It was fantastic. And when it was time to go, I guess we had to go to Portland. And that's where we were supposed to fly out. Well, they bumped me off. My ex-wife, my wife at the time, still had the plane ticket, so I had to take a bus from Portland to Boston. But it was actually beautiful because it was in September, so like all the leaves were changing, and it was at either Vermont or New Hampshire. I can't remember which state you have to go through. Or
you
which
go
state.
through New Hampshire for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was still beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Did you? Was it a Concord Trailways bus? That's usually what they put you on. Did you like Concord Trailways is great because there's always like a basket full of water on the front seat on one side and a basket full of headphones on the other. Every time you get on, to this day, and you grab your headphones, you grab your bottle of water, you sit down, and as soon as they leave the parking lot, they put on a movie. And I've taken this thing like 15 times in my life probably, and every time the movie is perfectly timed to end either when you're pulling into Logan or I don't know how they do it. Like maybe the guy like slows down or something, but like
he's like, oh man, we're at the climax of the movie. I got 10 minutes into it there. I got to slow down.
I think it was like an old Greyhound bus because I don't remember having a water or headphones or even having a movie. I think I just luckily there weren't that many people and I had like the whole row to my seat or to myself and I just like stared out the window the entire time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is really beautiful up there. It was one of those places like I couldn't wait to leave growing up.
Yeah.
And now my parents still live there. My dad's side of the family still lives there.
Okay. So you still go up there every once in a while?
Yeah, we're actually going to spend a good chunk of July up there this year.
Oh, cool.
Because it's just too hot down here. Sorry.
I'm from the Midwest. I'm like, it's just not cold enough. I just need it to be a little bit colder.
Where?
Southern Indiana.
Okay.
So that's only like 3 hours away from here. So it's not that far. But like fall doesn't really exist in Nashville. It's like you get like 1 week of like, oh, it's in the 50s. And then it's like, oh, now it's either back in the 80s or it's like 20 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of falls off the cliff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Spring as well. But this year I feel like we've actually had somewhat of a spring.
We have.
A little cooler temperatures, not as hot.
Yeah.
And we're already in May. So
Yeah.
Like halfway through May.
Yeah.
Look at that.
As long as the temperature drops at night, I'm good. It can get like, my tolerance for heat during the day is really high as long as it cools off at night.
Sure.
When it gets to that point here where it's just like a dog breathing on your face all night too, I'm like, nah, I can't. I got to go.
I remember, I think it was like the summer of 2012. It was so hot out that like you would walk outside at like 9 p.m. at night and it'd still be 95 degrees out. And I'm like, no.
It's hard.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, for me, like what really like kind of shifted our perspective on sticking around in the summer was having a kid. Because like she loves to be outside. She loves to run around. But it's just like, in July and August, it's really hard to be outside with the kid.
Miserable.
Yeah, for more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And so, we're going to go to Maine and it'll be great. And my in-laws are from Michigan, actually.
Oh, okay,
so,
cool.
So my wife's a singer-songwriter, and I spent years on the road, so we travel extensively with our kid. We've taken her on tour and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, our plan is to go. We're playing a festival in Virginia, and then we're going to keep driving and go to Maine, be there for a bunch of weeks, then drive to Michigan, be there for a bunch of weeks, and then play a festival in Wisconsin and come home.
Nice.
So it's
Heck yeah.
you know, big.
Cool.
Yeah, our kid's in daycare right now, and so she has like a summer vacation.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much like our, you know, we're doing our first summer vacation kind of properly this year, I guess. So
You also kind of have to capitalize before she gets into the like school system and everything. Cause like my 7 and 5-year-old, whenever it's summer, I feel like it's more like, okay, you guys aren't in school. I need to have something really cool planned for these 2 months. Where like, yeah, if she's like almost 2, it's like, okay, for these 2 months, we're just going to be in a car lot and hanging out. And it's really cool.
Yeah, we're also going to Europe for 3 weeks because my wife has shows. So
that's fun.
That's definitely capitalizing before she turns 2. We're going like right up until she turns 2.
Smart.
Yeah.
And she just added a couple like last minute shows to the end of the tour, and we're literally like, we can't add any more because she's gonna turn 2, and we're gonna have to pay for the flight back.
That's one extra show might make you like a couple grand, but we're also gonna lose a couple grand.
Right. So like we're good. Yeah, we told our manager, we're like, this is it. You can't book anymore.
But you'll sell out all these venues. No, I don't care.
You don't understand.
I don't understand.
That is funny. What shows or what cities is she going to?
So it starts in Glasgow in Scotland.
Okay.
Cool.
I think there's a bunch of shows in the UK. I know Bristol, Oxford, and London. I know we're going to be in London for like 3 days. And then we're playing in Stockholm. We'll be in Stockholm for a few days, and Malmo, Sweden, and Oslo.
Oh, man.
Nice.
And then Hamburg, Germany, and Utrecht, Netherlands.
Nice.
So, yeah. I've never been to Germany or Holland, so
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you play in your wife's band?
Mostly.
Okay.
This I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. I started this by saying like I wanted to tour less. I wanted to spend more time in my studio.
Yeah.
And since we've had a kid, because my wife is still breastfeeding, working her way out.
Yeah.
At least now she's able to tour on her own, and I can stay home and just be in dad mode.
Yeah.
But for longer things, we're going to Europe. I'll go and I'll just be a dad. So
Yeah.
I still tour, but I don't play any shows. I just get up early, do the drives, and carry all the stuff,
Yeah.
which is like the most fun.
You're a glorified roadie. That's
Yeah,
what you are.
exactly.
You're like a mixture between a roadie and a stay-at-home dad. for
Yeah,
the
exactly.
store.
Yeah, I'm a stay on the road dad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The home just happens to be a bus. That's all.
Yeah, which it's cool. It's fine. It's actually touring with a kid. Like, I mean, we started early with her. The first year of our daughter's life, I think she was on like 20 flights or something like that.
Okay.
Which is like we're just gonna bring her with us. She's part of this. Just get her comfortable with it, and she flies great. She travels great. And come to find out, like stopping every 2.5 hours to like play at a random playground in who knows where Maryland is actually a really enjoyable way to tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
You got lucky on her being good on those flights.
Yeah.
That's my biggest nightmare. We have not flown with Ada yet. I'm too afraid.
Yeah.
Being stuck in that little middle box with a screaming kid.
Yeah. It was easy when she was small because she would just sleep.
Yeah.
And now it's just like we're a jungle gym. She climbs all over us.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the key is to have a new toy.
Oh, yeah.
Just get on the flight and be like, hey, look at
this
this.
now.
Yeah, try
Yes.
this. And they're like, wow. And it's
I
like,
love this.
it's 5 minutes of bliss.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Whenever my daughters can draw now and like color stuff, so whenever we fly anywhere, that's the big thing we do, and
Yeah.
they'll get lost in that. And just we try not to do screens whenever we do planes, which we honestly don't do that much. But like, it's more like, oh, hey, let's just color stuff. Hey, let's just look around. What do you see? Can we draw this? Can we do that? And that luckily keeps their attention. But
That's cool.
lucky. Yeah, but they're also like 7 and 5. Like my almost 2-year-old, no.
Yeah.
If we flew with him, he would just be like slapping me in the face, giggling at me the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the scratches on my
from-
face. Yeah, that's that exact. That was just a squeeze. That was
you're
one
just
big
like,
squeeze.
oh,
Yeah, here
thank
we
you.
go.
Yep, no, I'm bleeding now. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so nice of you.
And my wife thinks physical humor is hilarious.
Oh man.
And so she just cracks up, which just encourages our
Yes.
kid more.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like just giving her like the hairy eyeball, like please stop.
I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, man, their little fingernails, they're deadly.
Yeah,
They're
man.
deadly, and
she'll
they're
just
so hard
pinch
to
me in the-
trim.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew some friends who would actually chew them for them because they were too scared of using fingernail trimmers because they were like, no, I'm going to cut your finger. You're going to bleed everywhere. You're going to scream at me. So they would actually like bite their fingernails for them because like, yeah, newborn's fingernails are like paper. They're like so
Yeah.
thin. And if you mess up, they're bleeding.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna try to avoid it. And then you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, why is your face scratched? Why is her face scratched? And you're like, I don't know how to trim fingernails apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this normal?
Yeah, my daughter, she sees it now and she goes, "Oh, ow."
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then she says her name's Georgia. And she goes, Gigi. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And then
So
she feels bad. I'm like, it's okay.
It's
like,
okay.
She actually feels bad.
I'm glad you feel ashamed, kind of, but also
Yeah. And then she actually like leans in and like gives it a kiss.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
Man.
that's sweet.
That is for me when I said, Ada, can I have a kiss? And she leaned in and gave me a kiss on the cheek. I was like,
You
that's
did it.
heaven.
That's so
Finally,
sweet.
she did it, and it was amazing.
Yep. I try to think that too. Like, I only work in the backyard. My commute is, 30 feet.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's pretty focused work. So I'm kind of like hazy at the end of the day. And I walk in the house and Georgia just like runs up and she does the thing where like she doesn't slow down at all and just runs. And I just try to, appreciate that as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because like I don't do that to my parents anymore.
Nope.
That's gonna stop one
Have
day.
you learned yet to immediately like crouch down to her level so she doesn't accidentally like headbutt you in the balls or
Yeah,
anything
I
like
learned that very
Yeah.
quickly. Yep. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Our height difference is
Yeah,
this. Here
yeah,
we go.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's I've had that happen before. Like, okay, squat down. This is why you
Yep.
squat down. Just
Man,
just avoid some injuries.
I was
Yeah.
carrying Ada where she was pointed away from me.
Yeah.
And she got really excited. When she gets excited,
Oh, yeah.
she swings her legs. Oh man,
Just
hit
direct
me
hit.
right in the balls. I just had to give
You're
her
just
to
like,
my wife. I was like, I can't.
I think I'm gonna throw up. That was a good shot. That was a good hit. That was a good hit. This is not what I anticipated.
Yep. Yep.
That was a really cute moment until this happened. At your studio, do you do like tracking? Do you do mastering? Do you do it all? What all do you do in your studio?
Yeah, I do a lot of tracking
Okay.
and a lot of mixing. I can master, but I like to send it to other people because, like,
Friends don't let friends master.
yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, because to have like mastering specific gear is really expensive.
Yeah.
And so I send it to people that I can do it. And
Yeah.
I can functionally do it. But it's getting somebody else's ears on it,
Yeah.
and then really expensive gear that I don't own. So
When you have people over to track and record, does your daughter come in and like see it or anything like that, or is she just kind of in daycare and like doing her own thing?
she's in daycare till early afternoon.
Yeah.
But she'll pop in.
Yeah.
If it's just like a 1 day thing, maybe she won't. But when I'm working on records or when people are there for a few days, she'll definitely come in and hang. And there's like big French doors like, right in the main room that look out. So like she'll come by and like knock on the door and be like, hey.
That's really cute.
And when people aren't there, I'm in there by myself pretty often. And so she'll come in and she loves to like push buttons and there's like a patch bay.
Yeah.
So where you plug in all these cables and stuff and she loves to like plug in the cables and all that.
And you're like, let me just take a picture of this before
yeah.
you do
If
that.
I look away for a second,
Yep.
everything is different.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But no, lately, piano has been her favorite instrument so far, but lately
cool.
she's like way into the drums. She
Yeah.
comes into like beelines for my drums and
That's
grab
cool.
sticks. And
Heck yeah, I think any kid would just love to bang on something extremely hard.
yeah, she figured it out. She's like, "Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can get behind this."
This is a nice tool or a
Yeah.
nice toy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because like somebody bought her, maybe it was my mom, maybe it was a cousin or something like that, got her like a bag of percussion when she was a little kid.
Yeah.
And like she didn't really understand it. And I was sitting there playing with this, like, oh, this sounds really good. Oh, this sounds really good. And so I have like a bunch of her
Oh my
toys like in my
gosh.
percussion bag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I should that's you can keep that. That's yours actually. It's like I've definitely used like my daughter's toys on a
That's
ton of
awesome.
records. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. They sound great.
They do.
Yeah.
Tell us about your podcast. Like you started a podcast during the pandemic, right?
It's fresh.
Yeah. It's
We
like
kind of
you started in
a
March,
podcast.
right?
Yeah. Yep. So, I guess, on the back end of it started like right before Christmas. Started in like, oh, I have an idea. Like we should do this. Which then my wife was like, I want to be a part of that. And I was like, man, do we really need to work together on that level too? And because we work together a lot, we make records together, we tour together, we have for a long time. And in retrospect, like I could not do it without her, especially what we're talking about. Like if she wasn't involved in the conversations, the thing would be boring. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is because of her.
Yeah.
So we started planning that and like, you know, right before Christmas. And I think we started recording episodes like at the end of January because we're a pair of overachievers. So we wanted to launch with like 5 episodes just right out the board.
Yeah.
Just to like make it so you can people can get sucked
Just
in and just kind of like binge it.
Just consume. Yeah.
And then it's been every week since then. And so it's called The Other 22 Hours. And basically the idea is to focus on the time that musicians are not on stage. So the other 22 hours in the day.
Yeah.
They're basically just conversations that we have with friends all the time anyway. You know, the pandemic was a massive shift for the music industry, massive shift for musicians. And we noticed that, like, you know, after the initial shock of, oh my God, what's happening at the beginning of the pandemic, when people kind of settled into it, everybody was like really calm and relaxed and healthy. They had time to like take care of themselves. They had time to like, you know, be still and not be on tour and be like, wow, what we do is pretty crazy. And like,
Kind of is.
yeah. And so people like really kind of stepped into a slower pace of life and like, I guess like a more traditionally like healthy way of living. And then it was pretty much last year that touring got back to like some semblance of normalcy, where most people were back on the road, and it was like a slingshot and everybody just snapped back to like, just like being busy all the time and running around and all of that. And like, but weren't happy, you know? And so we were having these conversations with everybody all the time about like, you know, how they stay creative, how they stay inspired, like how you do this crazy thing of building a career around your art, which is insane. And all the conversations were very similar, and everybody thought they were the only one that felt that way.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, man, why don't we just record these conversations? You know, like much like you guys, it's like, man, let's just record these conversations.
We'll just press record and release it later.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's still growing and still evolving. You know, I think it's like starting now to find its footing, and you know, it's kind of weird to talk in a room like this. I mean, we do it remotely, but it's the same thing. You know, we're sitting in a room just talking, and then all of a sudden people hear it and you get feedback, and it's like, wow, oh man, people are hearing what's inside my brain, and that's pretty insane.
It is. I feel like from the episodes I've listened to of it, you just kind of like I really like things that make people more human. So like the one you did with Shovels and Rope is you're just like, so whenever you're on tour with your kid, what do you guys do with your kid? Because like you don't want to leave them at home because that's not cool. Yeah. But like, what do? You're on a bus for like, do you stop at a playground? Do you do this? So I feel like you're just like normalizing a human experience that like people don't pay attention to. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that we intentionally call them conversations and not interviews because we want it to be that. Yeah. Like they are conversations. The idea is that it's a podcast for our community, from our community. Like there's a ton of music podcasts out there, but a lot of them are like, what is it? The Broken Record podcast, which is like Rick Rubin is involved, but it's like Malcolm Gladwell. And like, there's a lot of like these journalists and like people that like love music and probably know way more about the history of music and musicology than I do. Yeah. But they don't live it, you know? And so our idea is like, we are musicians that have lived it and done a bunch of things, and we're having conversations, and it's like, how can we share our ideas together to as the tide rises, so do all the ships kind of thing. No, like that Broken Record is like, no, man, if I want to deep dive on Wildflowers by Tom Petty, they have like 2 episodes on that, and Rick Rubin was the producer on it, and that's great. Yeah. But does it tell me what Tom Petty was like during that time in his life? Kind of. Yeah. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and it's with social media is a necessary tool in our community, and I think the inherent struggle with social media is, you know, you have these artists that are people, are human beings that are using it and want to use it as a human being, and you know your art is very close to who you are, but you're a business, and you have to like advertise a business and promote a business, which inherently means like you're only going to share the highlight reel. Yeah. You know, and so it's like, how do we step away from that and, you know, talk as humans that are existing as creators and artists in this? And like, what have you found that worked? What have you found that worked that, you know, you can, because it's so easy to fall into the numbers and the metrics and the money and the lack of money. And, you know, it's like, cool. How do we stay like creative? How do you stay inspired to, you know, be on tour forever, come home, hopefully reset and recharge and like write more songs? You know, how do you do all this?
Yeah, because I feel like there's lots of examples of artists who will start to get big and then not release an album for like a decade because they got so burnt out from tour schedules and the expectation of creativity that it took them like years before they remembered how to be creative again.
Yeah.
Because you go from like, you're in like your 20s or something like that and you write like 10 good songs. People are like, what else you got? And you're like, I didn't even know these 10 songs were this good.
Yeah.
Like, and now you're expecting me to do it again. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, 100%. I think somebody told me one time, they're like, you can take however long you want to write your first record.
You can.
And then there's a timeline.
Yep.
You know? And it's, I can't imagine. I've never written a hit record, but I can't imagine the pressure that comes, you know, if you put out your first record and it's a hit, or your third record, whatever. When you put out a hit record, you're like, it's impossible. I can imagine it's impossible to try to write when you have like this expectation hanging over you. Like, well, the last one won a Grammy. What's this one gonna?
I'm not a big fan of Taylor Swift, but how the heck does she do that?
I don't know.
It's really impressive.
Because she does everything.
No, she
and she's redoing all of her songs, I guess, so she can
get back to the rights to her masters.
That's insane too.
Yep.
I mean, best example of it is probably Radiohead. They release OK Computer, which redefines rock music in the late 90s. And then they record Kid A, and like Tom York literally has a mental breakdown in the recording studio.
Yeah.
And they go full on computer music whenever there used to be a massive rocking guitar band because they're just having mental breakdowns in the studio. Because they're like, how do I beat OK Computer? And you don't.
Right.
You create something that's completely drastically different, and then you change the game in a different way.
Yeah.
But like to know what it was like to be in their heads whenever that happened was probably a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, like, at the end of the day, it's like, why keep doing it?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, why keep doing it? With trying to, like, you know, recreate that. Do it for yourself. You know, I like to, when I have the time, which is few and far between these days, but I love just like recording stuff that I know is never going to leave my hard drive.
Oh,
you know? And it's like, because I can turn that off, that like, oh, there's somebody's going to hear this. I can turn that off in my brain and just kind of like tuck it away for a little bit. And it's, it kind of opens things up again a little bit.
It does. And I think with creativity, being aware of what barriers you've put in front of yourself is a really important thing to do. Like, it's really hard for me to sit down and write songs ever I play guitar, because every time I start a chord progression, I'm like, oh, this is what I wish this sounded like. And then I'm too inside my own head, and I just don't know what else to do with it.
Yeah. It's like the scientific theory that, like, when you look at when you observe something, it inherently changes it.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that theory is. But that's like, to me, that's like creativity. Like, the more you look at it, the less it makes sense, the more it disappears. Like, the less you can define it. It's this weird thing, but you know, there's creativity in everything in everyday life. You know what I mean? So
I do.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer of like the muse. Like, is the muse with you today? Like, I'm sure whenever we record people, it's like, all right, you know what? Today we're in the groove. We're in the pocket. We had it. Tomorrow, who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who knows what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
For me, for creativity, I went to school for landscape architecture. So it was staying up really late, drinking Red Bulls, and smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And it's like too close to home.
Yeah. And that was my life, as every time that I had to turn in a project or work on a design.
Yeah.
And then once I got into this field where it was actually just doing the maintenance on landscape, I still did some design, but running the business, like, it was really hard to switch back over to creativity.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to just step away from the creativity, or that business was going to go down.
I think creativity and details are really hard to put together a lot. Because, if you like, they can work together. But yeah, if you're super creative, I feel like you're more ethereal almost, you know, like you're like up in the clouds, you're everywhere else. And then when someone's like, okay, but like, let's sit down and work, you're like, but I'm still like dreaming. And then I have to wake up.
So that's like that's my jam, because I'm like very analytical, very data driven, all of that. And so I love to find ways and develop systems that work, that kind of allow me to show up and be creative, kind of on not on demand, but like when I need to, I can access that. So I spent a lot of time thinking and developing ways and like very, very data number driven stuff that's like things are taken care of here. So that way my head is clear to then be creative.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite saying in regards to music is an overnight sensation, 10 years in the making.
Yeah, basically.
You know what I mean? It's like, a friend of ours, Margot Price, from here.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, she blew up overnight. It's like, no, she definitely did not. There were 12 years before that. There was a band, Buffalo Clover.
Yeah.
There was all this. You know, I was filling in with her kind of when that whole thing happened. I toured with her I was like this time of year, April or May, and the tour was awful.
Yeah.
We were there was 5 of us in a Ford Explorer pulling a U-Haul trailer, driving all crazy hours back and forth. Like me and Jeremy, her husband, like up drinking Red Bull, driving, like holding our eyes, like hitting each other as everybody else sleeps. Cause like we had to go from like Fort Myers, Florida to Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Like
After a show.
Well, yeah, we stopped playing in Fort Myers at 2 a.m. and we had a set at 2 p.m. in Savannah, Georgia, which I think is like 10 hours away.
Yeah.
We had 10 hours. We had 12 hours to drive 10 hours.
Yeah.
Or something crazy like that. And then the next day we were playing. So we played at 2, we finished at 3 or whatever in Savannah. And then our next show was at noon in Tampa.
So you drove all the way back.
All the way back.
Who did your scheduling?
Oh, I will.
They never did it again.
Yeah. I was served tequila at a friend's party one night, and I told the agent that he was awful.
Yeah.
I'm like, nobody likes you. You guys are bad.
Why did you do this to us?
Yeah. And I kept, you know, I was very Nashville about it. I was like, I'm not talking about any artists in particular. I'm a drummer. I'm just talking for myself. But really, man, nobody likes you.
But everyone in the room agrees.
Yeah. So then I filled in with them again in the fall. It was right before her first single came out on Third Man Records. And we were in a Sprinter. We were opening for somebody and every show was sold out.
Yeah.
Like all of that. Needless to say, on both of those tours, like Jeremy and Margot were writing together the entire time. They like worked so incredibly hard, endlessly, all the time, everywhere. And they have 2 kids.
Yeah.
They had one kid at the time. Now they have 2 kids. But like they work so hard and they've sacrificed so much. But everybody's like, she's an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
I'm like, 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that with Bon Iver whenever he won Best New Artist. And I was like, for his second album, his first album was like a cult classic that like everyone was obsessed with. Like, how is he Best New Artist if he already has like a really well done album that he's toured on for like 4? Is that a new artist? If he's already like, to me, new artist is like, all right, here's just something I came up with. Here you go. People seem to like it. Let me know what you think. Not like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm the best new artist. That
Right. Exactly. I don't really understand those categories at the Grammys.
Nope.
It's like, I want to hear more about this landscape architecture though. Cause like, that intrigues me. I always think that like, if I wasn't a musician, I'd either like do landscape design or be a full on architect.
Oh, cool.
I love both of those.
Yeah.
In like the design sense. So
yeah. I started working in the landscape field 16, worked for a landscape company, and then I did all the design around my parents' house. I built my mom a pond in my backyard. So UK, I mean, I'm from Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati. Big, huge University of Kentucky fan. So UK had a landscape architecture program. You have to test into it. So like the top 20 kids will get in based off of your test scores each year. But man, it was a great experience, but it was incredibly hard because while everybody else was partying and having a great time, I was usually in the studio smoking a whole lot of cigarettes and drinking a lot of Red Bull. Working on a project that I felt like was never ending, and I was always tired, but it was a lot of fun. And when you got to see your designs and see the progression of drawing AOL people, basically, to actually being able to draw.
Oh, yeah, those are like 3D graphics and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Specifically doing the hand drawings. The CAD and the 3D modeling is really, really cool, but being able to actually hand draw something and it still look amazing, that's really satisfying. But yeah, it was a 5-year program, a lot of fun. Graduated in 2008 when like the economy just went.
Yeah.
So the year before, I had a internship in Austin, Texas, and I absolutely loved Austin. I loved the company that I was working for, and they were like, "Come back after you graduate, and you'll have a spot." Didn't have a spot after like everything melted down, so I actually worked for a company called Bread and Company. Have you ever heard of that?
Sounds familiar.
It was a sandwich shop and soup shop that was, I think, just local to Nashville. But worked there.
Yeah.
Not Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's. Because it took like 4 years, 2012, for me to finally find a landscape design job. It was, but yeah, I've been working with Peachtree Landscape since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think the coolest thing about what you studied is actually your knowledge of like horticulture, because you can actually, you know how like plants are actually supposed to like live and thrive and survive. Like, I think that's such a cool thing.
I'm going to tell you the truth. Landscape architects, they know very little about actual horticulture.
Okay. I thought you knew at least more than the average person, though.
Yes. Yeah. But
Okay.
And it boggled my mind as well, is you're in a 5-year program and you only take 2 classes of horticulture and that's it. Everything else is design based.
Wow. So they don't teach you like how the plants are going to survive or like.
No, not really. Everything was, and this was specific to UK, but and I'm sure other colleges or universities had different styles, but yeah, ours was just a lot of design based. I really didn't start to learn my plants until I started working at Peachtree.
Until you started you'd plant something
Yeah.
and then be like, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? And then you researched it and you found out how it was supposed to work.
Yeah.
And then going into the commercial side of the maintenance and seeing what landscape architects put for all these downtown apartments and condos and even like the big apartment complexes, the garden style, you're like, man, they had no idea what they were doing.
Well, I remember taking to Geodis, the new like soccer stadium, and you're like, all these trees are going to die within 3 years with the way they planted them. you're like looking around. You're like, you can't go to like any open space anymore because there's like, now that's already going sideways. You didn't, the roots are wrong, and it's like, oh, Justin, your poor brain when you walk around.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love it, and apparently it's bleeding over to Ada because she now, like, especially, she'll come home with just dirt all in her nails and all over her fingers. And one of the teachers actually asked my wife, like, "Are you a gardener?" My wife was like, "Yeah, I garden, but my husband is a landscaper as well." She's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense because Ada will just dig in the dirt, play with the mulch, and she must just have seen me do it and like, yeah, I want to be like Dad."
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. I love work that like you can see the progress at the end of the day. I think it's, growing up with a dad that was a carpenter and going to work with him all the time. It's like, it's seeing it. You start in one place and it ends in the other place, and it's very tangible. You can see it. Anybody can see it. Because the work I do, it's like, I mean, you could see it if you open up a program and you look, all that. It's like, and you can hear it. But like just that kind of sweat labor end of the day, like I made this.
Yep.
It's so satisfying to me.
It was.
Yeah, I believe it. I worked for a landscaping company for a summer. I lived in Asheville, North Carolina, on hiatus from living in New York. I said it was, it took about 12 years because I was in and out frequently. But yeah, I worked for a landscaping company. I got hired only because one woman owned the company, but she didn't go out on any of the jobs.
Yeah.
And then there was a 2-man crew, and they both had DUIs that needed a blow and go. So I got hired because I could drive a stick and I didn't have a DUI.
There you go. Dude, I'm telling you, it is hard to find drivers for landscape companies.
Yeah.
Like, we've hired so many old people. Just be like, can you drive? Yes. Can you survive? Yes.
Can you show up at the time I asked you to show up
Okay.
at? All right.
Just drive for us then, because this guy can't drive.
Yeah, that's how I got the job. That was 100% how I got the job.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but it
can
was
totally believe that.
yeah, but it was great. We did like it was up in the mountains, so we did like a ton of water features. You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
which was fun. You know, you get to kind of like create nature for a little while.
Yeah,
It's
that's pretty
like,
sweet.
oh, let's put this rock over here,
Yeah.
and let's
Yep.
you know.
That's a whole nother field. Yeah, we usually sub any water features out to JVI Secret Gardens, if you know where that is.
Yep.
Over in Donaldson.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
close to where we are.
Oh, okay.
So we go there and get some plants from them.
Yep. They have good stock, and that's where we get our Christmas tree.
Cool.
If you ever like, you probably can't do a real Christmas tree, can you? Because of your allergies.
Yeah, probably not. I'm
Yeah.
kind of allergic to everything. So.
But real Christmas trees, they have the best selection, I think.
Have you ever wanted to plant your Christmas tree afterwards?
I've never even thought about that.
Okay.
I don't know how well it would survive.
I don't think it would at all.
Yeah.
Just asking.
Yep.
Just questioning.
That's
Yeah.
the first
You
time
as,
that's
the
ever.
you as the landscaper, like, do you try to keep it alive longer? What do you do with it?
No, but you can put Sprite in it.
What?
To make
it's
it-
sugar, because they eat like
yeah.
sugar? Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to just put just water.
No, you
You
gotta do,
either
like,
get
sugar
Sprite
water.
or some type of. I mean, they make a.
Should I do like
a little
Sprite Zero?
bottle.
Or is it just
Oh,
regular-
whatever. I don't know. Getting bogged down in the details, Devin.
I just didn't know if the tree was on a diet, and there's your worst joke
Oh,
for the
shit.
episode.
That's your dad
You're
joke.
welcome.
Oh, man.
Man, your tree's looking a little thin there. Yeah, it's been Sprite Zero.
Yeah, it's okay. It's sugar free too.
Yeah, we're
Wait,
good.
hold on. Defeated the whole purpose of the Sprite. Anyway, since you and your wife are both creative, do you hope that George is creative later? Like, what are your hopes for her, like, career-wise later?
Yeah, I mean, I hope she's creative, but I have no attachment to her being musically creative.
Yeah.
I just think that like being a creative person is a great attribute to have as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it translates to a lot of different facets of life and is a great survival tool as a human being. So, you know, I hope for her, you know, my wants for her to be creative and resilient and intrigued,
Yeah.
you know, just be interested in whatever, you know, and curious and ask questions and continue to do that for her whole life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that she's creative, but neither of us, you know, if she shows interest in music, cool, but we don't force instruments into her hand. We don't, you know, I've just in the last like 3 weeks been starting to force music on her because like she just got in a rut and it was just like too much Harry Styles. And so I've been forcing the Beatles on her, which takes us in the morning with traffic. It'll take us like 40 minutes to get to her daycare.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then we turn around and it takes 15 minutes to get
pretty
home.
much, yeah.
But, you know, I've like sweat out just like tantrums to the Beatles, but she's starting to like it. She's
Nice.
coming
That's
through.
awesome.
There's some, you know, I still can't get her to like the Abbey Road medley.
Oh,
She will
man.
not stomach it, but Come Together, she
Come
loves
together,
it.
she's 4.
Yeah, Revolution, she loves that.
That's because it's really loud.
Yeah, exactly. She
probably
loves
helps
really
out.
loud
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
She's like, yeah. But you know, there was a phase where she was really into like rocksteady, like you know, kind of throwback Jamaican music, like from the 70s
Sure,
and stuff. Like
yeah.
I was like, this is cool. Let's do
Okay.
this. Yeah. Then it got on Harry Styles, which was cool. I like Harry Styles. His records are really great, but like it was only like 2 songs. I'm like, no, this is gotta go.
Is it, your daughter's not old enough to know that on Spotify there's a repeat one song button on it.
Oh,
Both of my
man.
girls have figured that out. They're like, no, put it on repeat. I'm like, it's on repeat. They're like, no, that's the whole album on repeat. You need just a song on repeat. And I'm like, this minute is like a minute long. And we have
Yeah.
a 20-minute drive ahead of us. All right, guys, we get 5 listens. We get 5. I'm setting a rule currently. There are 5 listens,
You're
and then you
brave.
cannot complain whenever I skip the song again.
How does that go for you? Does that
It actually
work?
goes well. They're old
Okay.
enough where I can be like, all right, we get it 3 times. I'm like, okay, it's cool.
Yeah,
But
we'll
like
take 3.
2 years ago, no, where it was awful. But I was
Yeah.
like, I cannot listen to this song for a 5th time. And my wife was like, just ignore it. And I'm like, I intrinsically can't ignore the music in the room. I'm sorry. This is
Yeah.
who I am.
Yeah.
It's just messing
Teach
with me mentally.
Teach me your ways because I cannot ignore music.
Yeah, no, that's I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really cute, but our daughter wants to hear like the music that we make.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. But then like you're listening to, you know, it's like, you know, we're listening to the record that my wife and I made while she was pregnant with our daughter.
Yeah.
Just like over and over and over and over and over again.
And we already spent months recording this.
Yeah.
Then you probably toured it.
Yeah.
And now you are again listening to it.
Yeah. I know every inch of this record.
Yes.
And
you probably, it's kind of like whenever you put together a piece of furniture, you listen to the song and you're like, oh, could I have just recorded that snare hit a little bit differently?
I hear, yeah. I hear every
your
little
biggest
thing.
critic.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just, I know it. So we've had this conversation on our podcast a little bit. I think it was in an episode that we had with the Milk Carton kids.
Okay, yeah.
Who, that every record, there's inherently a gap between intent and what happens.
Yeah.
So the example we use is like people talk about how like Steely Dan, they pick like Steely Dan and Michael Jackson and like Prince as like, perfect records. They make perfect records. And I'm like, I guarantee every single one of those records, if you ask them, their intent was actually here and, they might not have hit it precisely, but to us, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I try to keep that in mind, because like I will get bogged down in perfection.
Yep.
And then it makes the record suck, because it's like you're too close to it.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I don't need to listen to any record that I've produced. I don't really, I can't just like listen to it and get joy. I can be like, wow, this is great. I'm proud of it. Okay, cool, bye.
Now,
it's called a record release show for a reason. You're like,
See ya.
Yeah, goodbye.
I'm a really big Tim Kasher fan. He was in like Cursive and The Good Life, a bunch of Omaha-based like bands in the early 2000s. And my favorite album of his, which is by The Good Life, called Album of the Year. I listened to an interview with him once, and he just like ripped to shreds his vocal takes on every single song. And I was like, this is how I've been trying to sing since I first heard this album. What you think is your worst performance is what I hope my voice sounds like one day. I don't know if that says more about me or more about you, but like it's got to be weird to have that like, all right, I recorded this, cool, here's what it is. Can we just not talk about this anymore? But also it's my career.
Yeah.
So talk about it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, being a producer, a lot of what I have to do is like work with the artist to build trust. They're like, no, this is great. Or to, get them to a spot that they are stepping into their fullest potential or all of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I do is, I would say like 80% of the records, it's just me and the artist. And so I play like most of the stuff. And,
Okay. Yeah.
And then I also like write and produce music for TV, which is me playing everything. So there's a lot of me layering me on top of me and all of that. So I'd like to think that I've gotten to a spot of like being cool with it and like letting it go. But yeah, I can't listen to my own stuff for pleasure at all. Having the podcast is like really fun and really fulfilling for us. So I'd never put anything on YouTube like that was me forward. Anything that was like, I'm putting this out. This is me. And so first day, we put 5 of those episodes up. We had them come out at 6 a.m. I think by 8 a.m. there was a comment on one of the YouTube videos that's like, she looks great and sounds great. He should not even be on the show. His voice is annoying.
Man.
He does not look the part. I'm like, are you saying I don't have a face for podcasting?
Yeah, right.
Cool,
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
great.
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. So I entered the world of YouTube.
You forgot the first rule of YouTube.
Yeah.
You just don't read the comments.
Yes.
Unless you despise yourself.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your self-hatred?
Let's go there.
Gosh.
I remember this guy's name very, very vividly.
And you know where he lives now. He doesn't know that yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm sure that is a different role because if you're like, I feel like a drummer and a bass player are usually not the main. Most people don't view them as the main reason to go see a band play.
Exactly.
You've just been in the background. You do creative stuff. You add. You like make songs better. But as far as like, here's my creative baby, where I'm kind of one of the stars of it. Here we go.
Yeah.
How do you feel in that role so far?
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I'm like a star of it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha,
it's like it's really all about our guests.
And you have some pretty sweet guests, so that really helps
Thanks.
take the pressure off of you guys.
Yeah. And I mean, we're there to help them, I guess, help them share their ideas. We're there to like kind of just talk to them about what their mindset is and what their ideas are. So it's nice. And my wife, who's used to being the front person and putting out records, is nice for her because it's really not about her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that she's making, but it's really not about her. So it's like we both approach the whole thing like releasing a record.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we put out things all the time. Like this is releasing a record, and it hasn't been that, and it's kind of great.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just a thing that we just put out, and
Yeah.
you know,
It's always good to be reminded that whenever you have new creative energy and new creative ideas, they can still be energizing in ways you didn't anticipate them to be.
exactly, and that's what's kind of beautiful about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like, you know, I see this our podcast is evolving and growing and turning. It's kind of taking a life of its own, and that excites me. It's like, cool. What is this going to turn into?
Pretty much, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's how ours has been evolving as well. Like at the very beginning of this, it was just going to be me and him talking about
Life.
our life for a half an hour, and that was it. And then we had friends that wanted to come on and tell their story, and then other people wanted to come on, and just
Now
like
we're
you.
talking to-
Now we're
yeah.
talking to you. We're talking to all different types of dads from just everybody,
Yeah.
and it's been wonderful. But we had no idea when it first started that this was what it was going to become.
It's kind of like when you sit down to write a song or record a song and you're like, here's the shape I think this song will take. And then you get to the final product and you're like, yep, that's not what I thought it'd be at all. Like, I think the last 3 or 4 guests we've had on, like male mental health has been like one of the most consistent discussions.
Cool.
Is like, because I guess I'm now starting to realize that this is a platform. Like this is a safe space for dads just to talk about their lives. And most dads are like, oh no, I'm like mentally exhausted and like tired and I feel like I don't know what to do with all of this. And you're like, oh, this was not in my list. I thought we were just going to hang out with dads and be chill and stuff. But like, if this is a place where we can actually discuss like the hard days, that'd be awesome. That's very energizing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Discussing your lowness is energizing to me. I don't know what that says.
No, I mean, that's kind of what we talk about in our podcast.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you know, we're not there to like, you know, just kind of gripe about the industry, but like, it's how do you get through that?
Yeah.
You know, it is talking about the low parts, but like, you know, that kind of stuff energizes me too.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely come from the school of like, you know, don't ruin a good conversation with feelings.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that like vulnerability is a weakness, and my mindset on that has completely changed before I had a kid, but like even more so now. It's just like, you know, I just want to be real and present for her, and like, you know, also it's so shocking to go from no kids to having a kid that it's like, this is really hard.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't like sugarcoat it for my friends that are expecting or anything. I'm like, no, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really great. You know, it doesn't expand in just one direction. Like both the bottom drops out and it gets way better all at the same time.
And what you think you're going to be tired right now, is nothing compared to especially a newborn.
Or even us discussing like sleep regressions is, your kid's like 20 months old and you're like, oh, I can predict you. And then they have like 2 weeks of just refusing to sleep. Yeah. And then like by the third night, you're like, we've already discussed this, child. You are no longer waking up every 2 hours. And you're like, well, that doesn't make anything better, but that's what I want to say. Yeah. It's like, stop waking up every 2 hours. I'm really tired. And then like, and there's so many things in parenting. We're like, oh, we're past this, right? And it's like, oh, nope, not at all. What do you have to do? Stay humble. What do you want to do? Anything but that.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much. It's just like, oh, I guess I'm just not fully broken yet. Okay, here we go. Like
you never will.
Anytime someone's like, oh, you've hit rock bottom, I'm like, oh, no, it can go lower. Trust me.
It just
don't.
keeps going.
It can keep going lower.
That's where we were with. I'm gonna knock on the table here. I think we're coming out of this sleep regression.
Okay.
But it's been definitely 2 full months.
Yeah,
and
I feel like I texted you like a month or 2 ago just about random stuff.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, sorry, I didn't respond because I don't know if I've slept since I texted you.
Yeah, it's been exactly that. Like just, you know, craziness. And it's, you know, every style of sleep regression, it has been in this one. First it was like delaying bedtime until like 10:30.
Oh, no, that's way too late.
Yeah,
no, man, I'm done.
I was done 3 hours ago when we started this, to, you know, waking up at 4 and just like, I'm awake.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And then, you know, a lot of just like, you know, 3 hours of waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and then we got into the cycle of like bringing her into our bed, you know, which she would kind of nurse and then fall asleep a little bit, but also just break dance the entire night and kick me in the face. And it was just like, it was horrible. We actually started about 10 days ago doing like a sleep consulting thing.
Really?
It's been amazing.
It's made a difference?
Actually. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, nice.
They use like, they have like one of those lights. Like it's like a nightlight thing, but it like changes color. Yeah.
Yeah.
and she loves it. So like it'll be on green, which means like getting ready for bed.
Yes.
You know, like purple is like playtime. Green is like getting ready for bed. So like, you know, we put that on as we're like, you know, putting her after a bath, like we're putting her PJs on, brushing her teeth, like, you know, give her a bottle then. And, you know, then it stays on like as we're like reading books and all of that. And like, you know, I can be like, we're going to read 3 books tonight. And she wouldn't listen to it for a while, but like something, I just like stuck to it. I'm like, we're going to read 3 books. I'm like, hey, this is the last book. And she's like, oh, you know, kind of fusses. And I'll have my phone next to me because it like Bluetooth changes the light. And like when we get near the end, I shift it to red and she goes, sleep, and jumps out of the chair and runs to her crib and like is ready
to go.
And I, you know, pick her up, say I love you, give her
Train
kisses.
her well.
I set her in, and I walk out, and you know she may be awake for another like 10 minutes, but she's just lying there under her sheet.
Yep.
And there's been a few. We're still dealing with like she'll wake up in the middle of the night, but she's not coming into our bed anymore.
Yeah.
So like,
I feel like if you're a parent, you should take PR classes. You just got to stay on message. Just figure out your message. You got to stay on message. You got to talk to your wife. You got to be like, what's our message today? Our message is when the light turns red, you run and jump in the bed. Okay, we have to consistently say 3 books because if one of us defers, not that they've won, but they're going to find that inch. They're going to find that wiggle room, and they will not exploit it, but they'll exploit it.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to realize that.
They will.
Yeah, my wife will be like, man, does she do this to you on the way to school? I'm like, no, she does this. And we're like, she knows.
She knows.
She knows, like, oh, I can't do that with dad, but I can do that with mom. And she totally, you know, it's like, it really is. It's got to be like a united front.
It does.
Like, because they will find a hole.
Yeah.
Like,
my wife does, because I stay home with the kids, so she'll come and be like, oh, she'll say yes to something. Be like, no, you can't say yes to that. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because well, I have to explain in front of the kids, and our oldest daughter can read now, so I can't text it to you anymore either because she'll just read it over your phone. But trust me on this one, when I said no second TV show, I have a very logical, emotional reason for saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're learning like, boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, we have to we really have to start setting boundaries, you know, because like we have a little bit, but like our kid is starting to run the show, and it's gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
And like what we're learning is like they you know, we find like when we set boundaries and we're like consistent and steady with them, she likes it. She's happier. She's like, I feel safe because this is like the pen that I can play in. Yep. But it was really hard at first. I felt like I was like being mean. I felt like all of that. And I wasn't letting her be a kid, but it's like, like this is actually being good, you know, and especially like when she's been waking up in the middle of the night, boundaries at night of like, no, the sleep school has taught us the difference between like, are you helping your kid or are you rescuing your kid? You don't want to rescue your kid because you're not actually helping them. You're not actually making them feel safe.
Yeah, that's really hard to do though.
It's really hard.
It is, man. It tugs at your heartstrings.
Oh, it's a full-on, I didn't understand. It's like a full-on Buddhist practice in there.
Yeah.
Of like, just like, you know, like I feel really anxious. I feel really worked up. Like my heart is racing because like my kid is screaming and like it's 3 a.m. and I want to go to sleep. I want to go back to bed and like all of that. And like just trying to like basically like shed my calm onto her.
Yep.
Just be like, here you go. Like, and another thing that really changed from taking the sleep school is like, you're not trying to get your kid back to sleep. You can't control that. You can't control when your kid goes back to sleep. You're just trying to be there to support them and becoming calm enough that they can fall asleep when they want to.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that's so much less pressure.
Yeah.
Still incredibly hard.
Yes.
Yep.
How's your personal sleep habits? Like, are you in general a calm person, or like whenever you get to bed, is your mind going like 50 miles per hour?
There's that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since that because I just hit my bed like so hard, you know. my brain's basically like,
I've already been working this whole time. Just let me tap out for a bit.
I used to be like very good about like not having my phone in my bedroom.
Oh, nice.
And that's just out the window. You know, my phone is next to me. I mean, because we have like our monitors on our phone and all that. So like, there's that.
Yeah.
But I generally go to bed late and wake up early, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. Because I always wonder, like, whenever your kid does a habit and you're like, oh, who's teaching you this? Sometimes, like, oh, my kid's up all night. And then you're like, wait, but I'm also up all night. So, like, do they hear me through, like, the door or something like that? I feel like you always have to, like, start with yourself of, like, why is my child doing this? Well, you're doing it. And what are they doing? They're learning from you.
Yeah. They observe everything.
Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Just not that one.
Yeah.
so much of parenting, sadly, is like, I feel like your parents would always be like, do what I say, not what I do. And I'd be like, well, that's a dumb thing to say. And then I'm a parent and I'm like, they're just trying to make me better than them. That's
so
what they're trying to do.
yeah,
That's
so
all time.
smart.
Yeah.
They're actually admitting their faults by saying this. And it was, I have to call them.
Yeah. Like, I got you. Yeah. It definitely keeps me in check. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh yeah. Like just looking at my phone, I'll realize a lot of time and I'm like, I just have to leave it like in a different place.
Yeah.
And
It's
like,
usually
I'm
the
here
only
with-
way it can work.
Yeah. I'm here. Cause like our kid will go through cycles of just being like addicted to like grabbing at the iPad or like staring at shows and all of that. But if we like kind of keep it away for a while, then she doesn't think about it. And she's cool and it's all great. But it's just like, it's a battle when it is there. It feels like a full on addiction. Like she like has like withdrawal. She like screams and falls and all of that. But then she won't think about it if we haven't like, shown her a TV show in a week.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. When I try to FaceTime with my parents, like the very beginning, she loved it. I'd have it in my hand and she would be cool, wave, babble, say hi. Now she reaches for it and she wants it.
Yep.
And like
Josh does that too.
If you take it away from her, she just has a meltdown.
Yep.
And you're like, well, like I want my parents to see her, but I also do not want this to happen every single time. So we haven't really FaceTimed that much lately.
I find it fascinating that like in parenting, there's so many things you do with the hope of connection. And then you're immediately met with the fact that no connection was made from that.
Yeah.
Like for that, that's a great example of like, oh man, then we FaceTime my parents. Or like we FaceTime my sister-in-law a lot because my wife and her are pretty close. And like, yeah, Josh will grab the phone and sprint away with it and giggle the whole time. And they're like, no, we actually want to say hi to her. And then he'll scream and I have to like take him outside. Because like if he still sees the phone, he's still screaming. So it's like, this was connecting-ish, I guess.
Yeah. The
But
thought was there.
yeah, our intentions were, let's connect with your sister-in-law. Let's try to have a part of her life because she's a good person. What's happening? Our youngest is screaming at the phone for some reason, and everyone else is in a different room talking to her now. What are you doing? Soothing a screaming almost 2-year-old.
There's a
This was
Bluey
supposed to be
episode
connection.
about that.
Oh, yeah, Facey Talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm very well versed in Bluey.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be proud of that or not. But
Bluey is great.
Dude, I like it.
Yeah. We very quickly burned through all of the episodes.
They're so quick.
Yeah.
they're like 8 minutes.
And now she doesn't want to watch them. Yeah, they're
Oh,
great
really?
length. I love the 8-minute length. It's
The 8-minute
perfect.
ones are great because like we'll do like at 7 is whenever we start bedtime. So if it's like my wife is out of town for work and it's like 6:15, I'm like, all right, girls, if we clean up all of downstairs, we go to bed at 7. The faster you clean up, I'll let you watch. Whenever we're done cleaning, you get to watch TV until 7. So like if you clean up everything by my standards, which aren't that high, and within like 10 minutes, you can watch like a 22-minute show. You could watch like 5 Blueys and you can do this. So like they know how to measure things in times of Bluey. So they're like, okay, is like a 22-minute show. That's like 3 Blueys? Yeah, it's like 3 Blueys. Okay, so if you say 3 Blueys, it means it's one 22-minute show. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Have you cleaned this room, though? 'Cause these are the questions you should be asking.
I love that. That's amazing. Okay. I hope
think
she
they
gets
learned that from you for sure.
Whoops.
That just sounds like something you
She's
would
like,
do.
hey, man, here's the reward system I've created for you. And here's how. And like, I feel like I just have to remind myself to like only say it once or twice. Because if I'm sitting there reminding them, like, you're not going to get TV, you're not going to get TV, then I'm emphasizing what I'm about to take away from them. And that changes like the entire energy of it. So it's a weird balance of like, hey, here are the rules. And now I'm going to go clean the kitchen because you guys shouldn't have to wash dishes because I'm the one who made all of them dirty. So here we go.
Yeah, you do that. I'm going to do this.
Basically, yeah. And then we'll come together whenever you guys are done. And if you guys finish before I'm finished, you get more TV. But at 7, we have to start bedtime.
Yeah, I like that. But your kids are also older.
They're older. Makes a big difference.
It does.
So, and Josh doesn't help. Josh just runs around and literally everything they put up, he puts out.
down.
And then I'm like, and they're like, Dad. And I'm like, okay, new rule to the rule. Whatever he takes out, I clean up. But he has to actually take it out for me to pick it up for you. So, amendments. You're just sitting there like, okay, so let me just type this up.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna add to this and add to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't gotten there yet. Georgia loves to help. She loves to like cook and help cook
fine.
and all of that. But she only helps how she wants to help.
Yeah.
Which sometimes like isn't a help. But
Yeah.
you're like, well, you're doing something.
Helping
You're
is
so,
trying.
technically what I'm calling it, but help is not
yeah.
what it is.
You're doing something.
Yes.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the thought that counts.
I feel like we read a book that was like most of the time your kids just want to be included with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times in which I'll be cooking or like boiling something and my son will want to be picked up. So he can literally just go hot and like point at it. And my thought is to be like, oh, I shouldn't pick you up. We're next to boiling hot water.
Yeah.
What if you slip out of my hands? What if you squirm? What if this somehow ends up on your body? That's not safety to me. What he wants is just to be able to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, or yeah, if I'm like mixing something in a bowl, such as cream cheese frosting, he wants to see what's happening in that bowl. He doesn't care about anything else. So like, I'm there like, oh, you're heavy. I don't want to hold you right now. And he's like, I just want to see what you're doing.
We bought a little platform.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you?
So that she can climb up and then like kind of her head's a little above the counter in the island. So she can see
Nice.
from a distance.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have to be so close.
Yeah, we use the same thing.
Yeah.
Like she'll climb up there and she insists on like eating her breakfast up there at the island, which that's fine. You know,
While mom is cooking, she'll be eating a little snack or playing with cups or coloring or something like that.
Exactly that. We apparently drink a lot of coffee in our house. We have our first purchase during the pandemic was like an espresso machine, and not a fancy one. It really punches above its weight and it's really great. Yeah. But it was, sub $200.
Oh yeah.
So I think maybe sub $150, and it was probably on sale because my wife is great at that. But so we make espresso every morning. Yeah. And our kid can full on make espresso.
What?
Every
Seriously?
step. Pulls the grinder out, grabs the beans, takes the lid off both, scoops the beans into the top, starts it. The only thing she can't do is though she tries is to dump the ground beans into like the filter that you put in. It gets a little messy. So I'll do that, but she tamps it down and then holds it up to the espresso
She knows
machine.
to tamp it?
And spin it at the end. It's pretty crazy.
Heck yeah, you got a little barista there.
Oh god, it's really like a mirror for like
It
who
is.
you are.
It's
So
one-
she can do that. She like pulls records off the shelf and pulls them out and can put them on the record player.
Nice.
And as I was telling you, we would, in one of our tools to try to get through the sleep regression was to like put like lavender essential oil on her feet. So now she loves to put essential oil on her feet, and we're like, oh my god, we have to buy a house in East Nashville? We got to move to Laughlin Springs. Like we have a kid that makes espresso, picks out vinyl, and uses essential oils.
It's
like,
true, but is she organic?
Yeah.
And prefers oat milk. Who would have guessed?
vegan.
She prefers oat milk. I mean, she drinks
awesome.
regular milk, but it's like it's grass-fed milk.
Oh my god! Yeah. We do a lot of since clearly I'm weird about music. I buy children's vinyl for our kids. Like Phonolux, which is like right around the corner from us, has a kids section, and it's literally like the really old soundtracks to Disney movies and stuff like that. So I actually have a kids section of vinyl music.
Cool.
So like during the summer when I'm home with 3 kids, I'm like, all right, you can choose a vinyl, then I'm going to choose a vinyl, which is normally like Otis Redding or like Sam Cooke or something that's like R&B and like old and like very easy to listen to. And then we just alternate back and forth for records. That's a really fun thing to be able to do.
Cool. Yeah. Man, we ought to do that because like there's some records like no, yeah. She's got that little like whatever's like play school like the classic plastic like toy record player, which she loves, but you can only listen to like ants go marching, whatever it is, so many times. Like
before coming here, Justin, was it your wife was sick or your kid was sick?
Wife was sick,
and I feel like there's this weird moment of whenever you're a dad and you try to actually go hang out with other dads. And you're like, but I'll cancel all of this if like something's wrong at home. How do you feel right now? Your wife was a little sickish at home, and you're telling me, you're like, do I need to bail on the podcast tonight? Should I just stay? Like, how do I take care of you? Because that's more important.
I feel a little guilty, but having this conversation with you has made it a little bit better. But I told her, text me if you need me to come home. Yep. I'll leave Devin.
I'll catch a ride from Aaron.
Or I can always come back and pick you up later. Yep. But I haven't heard back from her after that.
Aaron, I know you had a kid during the pandemic, so your ability to like physically leave your house hasn't been that much. Do you ever feel any like dad guilt or any shame of like whenever you leave your wife and kid at home to go do like literally anything?
No, because I don't leave all that much.
There you go.
Which that's the thing, like, I don't. I think I have friends, but like hanging out with friends, like not involving work.
Yeah, that isn't very intentional. Like,
I very rarely hang out with friends that doesn't involve work.
Yeah,
unless without my wife. Like we'll get a sitter and go hang out with friends, or all 3 of us will go. I've left twice on tour.
Yeah.
The first time Georgia was, I don't know, 4 months old. And it was to play a festival, Austin City Limits Festival. And we literally flew down that morning, played, and then went back to the airport and flew home.
Okay.
Which was kind of amazing. Because
Yeah,
I got to like hang
nice.
out in Austin for the day and then sleep in my bed.
It's pretty good.
And the other one was just like a few weeks ago, and I went to Charleston to play a festival there, and it was with a band that I've played with for a long time, but like low pressure kind of thing. We were all just like, yeah, let's go spend a few days in Charleston. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told my wife, I was like, is it okay if I go do this? I mean, it's, it's technically for work, but it's like, I'm not going to get rich. And she's like, yes, you need to do this. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
And so I like went down, I booked a flight home. I was like, I can ride in the van down, but I'm going to fly home the next day or, on the last day rather than drive back. And, so we drove down, we were there for a day, we played that night. And the next day we were like going to go hang at the festival again. And I woke up and was like, I think I've had enough. And I changed my flight and flew home that afternoon. And it wasn't, my wife's like, are you sure you want to come home? I mean, we're like, we'd love to have you here, but are you sure you want to come?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm good. So I was like, it wasn't necessarily guilt, but it was like, I was just kind of like, it's not going to be any better today than it was last night.
Yeah. Your whole mindset of getting away from home and doing things has, or at least for me, totally changed since having a kid.
Yeah.
Well, because, you still want to be able to do stuff for yourself. And, what does that actually mean? Like, if I go to a concert, I will wait. I usually don't see openers anymore. I wait until the headliner goes on, and I figure out when the headliner goes on, and then I go at that time. I don't make it a night anymore. It's not like, all right, I think in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to go see Pedro the Lion play Basement East, and we're going to do an interview beforehand, and I'm just going to leave from here to go there. But I already have some shame of that. But I should be at home once I'm done with here to go help out my wife. My wife is like, the show's at 9. You end at 9. Everyone's asleep. Why do you care?
Nothing you can do.
You're not going to you're not going to do anything when you're here that helps out the family. You're just available if I need you. But I've got everything handled. And I'm like, but shouldn't I? So I can buy the ticket. Yeah, go buy the ticket.
Yeah,
I think almost everyone's wife is like, yeah, go do something for yourself.
Yeah. That's definitely. I think that's the kind of shame that I have. It's very subconscious and just very ingrained. Yeah. It's no, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to help. And I definitely do not think of myself or put myself first in any case, Bahamas, that band.
Yeah.
They came and they played at Brooklyn Bowl.
Yeah.
And I've loved all the records that he put out.
His guitar tone is perfect.
It's amazing.
It's
and I love
beautiful.
There are no synthesizers on those records. He doesn't use synths. It's all just guitars and voices and drums, and it's amazing. And there's very little reverb. It sounds amazing. The songs are great.
He's very good at what he does.
It checks a lot of boxes for me. And my wife knew this, and I was like, I should go. No, I can't go. I'm not going to go, blah, blah, blah. And literally the day before the show, I get an email. My wife had bought me a ticket. She's like, "You're going." Yeah. There's a lot of that goes on. Yeah. Maybe because she can see that I'm just walking around just wide eyed.
Yeah.
I've been at work or been in dad mode or been taking care of whatever needs to happen at the house. And just spinning between those endlessly. She's like, you need to just go
do
and
something.
be you for a second.
It's
You
really
need to
hard.
leave for yourself, but also for me as well. Mine's
Insanity. It's exactly
This
that.
benefits both of us.
Yeah,
Trust
exactly.
me.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's something that I really struggle with. It's just being I'm gonna call a friend to just go and hang and unwind. That just it didn't equate to me much before. And now having kids, it's absolutely. I'm the kind of person if I have free time, I'm just gonna sit on my couch.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm not. I won't say no if a friend asks me to hang out.
Yeah.
I probably won't go.
Yeah.
But I'll at least try to make it happen for a day.
As far as initiating hangouts and stuff like that, there's it's a weird scarcity changes so completely differently of time whenever you have a kid, because it is okay, right now my wife is putting 3 kids to bed while I hang out here. We have agreed through multiple conversations that this is a good thing for me to go do. But there's still sometimes where in my head I'm like, oh, are you sure this is cool? Or you're like, oh, Haley, are you you're sick though, and you're still dealing with our kid. I never want to communicate to my wife that something is more important to her than our family. And that's always my fear, right? I want to go to this concert. Why? Because I like that music. Okay, well, everyone's sick at home. Oh, then I'll skip. Because like if I don't skip, then I've communicated to you a band that I'll see one night is more important than all of our kids that are sick at home. And that's not, if I start down that road, I don't like who I can potentially become.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's I wonder how much of my feeling of that is just for myself.
Oh yeah.
It's just in myself. It's not what she thinks at all,
Yeah,
but
no.
I'm like, I need to do this. I need to show up for this. I need to make sure that I'm available in case something
Correct.
happens because
Yep.
of this. She's like, it's cool. I got it. Like my wife, I think the longest that she's been on tour so far is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's like 14 days of
Yeah.
solo dad, which should be a survival show on the Discovery Channel.
It might be. Just
Yeah.
wait.
And it's not, I'm not saying this in like a keeping score kind of way, but she's like, this is what we do. There are times that I'm going to be gone. There's times that you're going to be gone. Like, you're talking about going to the 5 spot. Like you can go to East Nashville for a few hours.
You'll be back by 1 a.m. probably.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of fun.
Oh man, if I stayed till 1 a.m., that's a night.
Yeah.
I had a night.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
After 9 o'clock for me, that's like my cutoff. Yep.
Yeah. For me, it's like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Like in that window.
That's your groove?
That's like where I'm going down at that time. If I make it till like 10 o'clock, it's like I'm gonna be up until 1.
Okay, yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Like that's like the dip. I can either catch it and like get in bed and it's gonna be great, or it's like I'm
here
gonna be
I
up
am
late.
now.
Yep. So,
It is. I feel like a lot of that stuff is more about you start to realize how many different ways you have to communicate with your wife whenever you have a kid. Because all that is communication. Is you sitting down with her and being like, okay, you're going to be gone for 2 weeks. Here's how I need to communicate to you how I've got things handled at home. Because if you're on tour, you should be focused on your music, on what you're doing, and your performance. Because if it's in the back of your head, is Aaron really okay at home? It's gonna show itself in other ways.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out how to communicate to each other. Like, I've got this. Maybe when you get home, can I just go on a walk by myself for 10 minutes?
yeah.
Yeah, 14 days is a long time.
Yeah, it is and it's not. We kind of get into a routine.
Yeah.
And we have daycare and we have some babysitters that'll come and help so I
cool.
can keep working and all of that. We kind of get into like a little routine. Like that time was great. Like I had some friends that hit me up and they're like, what day do you want me to come over? I'm going to come over. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah. Wow. That'd be cool. Cause I know I just don't reach out. I don't think about it. It's just like, I just get so focused on like, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And all of that. But no, communication, man, it's like just constantly checking in. It's like, oh, this isn't working. Cause like we've both just been assuming these things.
Yep.
And it's like, just being able to say like, I'm going to mow the lawn, like, because sometimes we generally like to mow our lawn. It's a fun thing to do, but we might hire the neighbor's guy here and there when we're busy.
Yeah.
And just me being, I said it the other week. I was like, I'm going to go mow the lawn because I need it for my headspace.
Yeah.
Like, I just need this time.
Yep. I need an hour to push something.
Yep, exactly. I'm going to go push this thing around the yard and it's going to be great. And it was great.
So low brain function that I will be rejuvenated.
Yeah, exactly. Not focus on anything.
I sit on that riding lawnmower and I am just completely lost and don't think of anything at all, and it is wonderful.
Do you guys do audiobooks or music whenever you mow the lawn?
No.
No?
I can't hear over the mower.
Because it's got so much power.
Heck yeah, man. It's got a Hemi.
Yeah. I do podcasts.
You do podcasts? Cool.
Yeah. I generally like do podcasts on long drives and mowing the lawn and stuff like that.
Sweet.
If I'm like at the gym, no, actually at the gym I listen to podcasts too. I guess it's a lot more. I listen to music a lot during the day.
It's your job also.
Yeah.
I think I had to start doing I do Nashville Soccer Club tickets.
Yeah.
Because they do 17 home games a year. And it's the only way before doing this podcast like this, it was the only way I was guaranteed to leave my house. Because I'm at home with kids all day.
Right.
Or my main focus every day is how do I help my family the most? And what do I need to do to keep things keep all these plates spinning? And support my wife at the same time as she works a full-time job that supports a family of 5. So whenever I had a friend who's like, do you want to do these tickets? My wife was like, yeah, no, that's a guaranteed way in which every single week we know if you have a game or not. I can plan around it. I can plot for it or you figure it out and it'll be good. And I have found that to be a very healthy way. Because I'm the same. I don't reach out to people. It's not a thought in my mind. It's nothing against
Yeah.
people. It's really hard for me to look up and someone be like, hey, let's go get dinner. I assume the steps that I have to take to go to get dinner isn't worth it. Because I'm like, are you going to be home that night? Is it okay? Do I go at 6:30? Do I leave at like the amount of questions I have to ask myself? I'm like, man, I don't care that much. I'll stay home. I like you guys anyway. Also,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it is too. It's like I like being home. I like these people.
yeah, I'm cultivating this family life for a reason. It's because I like it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I need to be better about just making plans, just for fun. I guess I could chill out a little bit.
It's really hard though.
It is.
Like, especially, do you think your personality type is one to be focused or one to be chill?
Yeah, focused.
Yeah,
for
and that's
sure.
not a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it's good to acknowledge within yourself of like, oh, if I have time available, I'm going to be focused. Or apparently you go all in on being numb and staring at your phone. Like if you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
can just zone out on the couch, I'm going to do that 130%.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much that. And also being very intentional on that. Like I'm just gonna zone out so
Yes.
that I way like for 10 minutes, so that way I can like come back and show up and be present and be like,
Yep.
okay, cool, here we are.
Here's my little power nap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
exactly. Are you guys nappers? I'm not a napper.
I cannot nap to save my life.
Yeah,
No.
and I can't go back. Like when my kid wakes up in the morning, I can't go back to
No,
sleep.
I'm done.
Yep.
I'm up for the day.
Yep.
Yep.
I wake up early anyways. So
Yeah.
That's true.
usually before her, but my wife is one of those. She was a night owl, and now having to wake up early because usually Ada will wake up the minute I leave,
Yeah.
or
No
very
matter how you close the door.
yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. And she's like, "You did the dishes, and it was too loud. You woke her up."
Yeah.
I'm, like,
I'm
I'm
sorry. I ate a bowl of
I
cereal.
tried.
I put
Yeah.
it in the sink. I
Yeah.
thought that was considerate.
Yeah.
My bad.
I did my best.
Yeah. Yeah. So I take the mornings and I kind of like it. It's like I've accepted that, like, unless it's like 4 a.m. If it's 4 a.m, I can go back to sleep for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like generally like 5:30 on, it's
If
like
it's
I'm
after
up.
5, I can't go back to sleep.
Yeah. And it's cool. Unless Georgia's like on one and just like kind of super fussy
Yeah.
and just saying no to everything.
Yep.
It's kind of fun because
word.
it's quiet and she's really sweet in the morning and it's
Yeah.
like, it's cool. We,
Just hang out.
yeah,
That's
just
cool.
hang and keep it chill. And and it feels good to like let my wife sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Yeah, you do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm a go to bed late, like between 11 and midnight. And like my kids wait. I don't think I've set an alarm. I don't know the last time I set an alarm
Yeah.
on my phone.
Nope.
Because if a kid wakes up past 6:30, I'm like, is everyone still alive? Is there like a carbon monoxide leak in the house? Like what
Yeah,
happened? Like
why
how's
is-
everyone still asleep? So yeah, just like, man, I just kind of do the math. As long as I have the opportunity to get at least 6 hours of sleep, I'm like, man, I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like 6 is a sweet spot.
That's fine. Anything less, I feel
Everybody's
it.
different.
Anything more, I'm like, oh wow, how did I deserve this? This is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I mean, like, because my wife and kid will go see her parents sometime. Unfortunately, when my wife was 4.5 months pregnant, her mom had like a pretty major stroke. So
Oh,
she's
no.
she's doing incredibly well. She's verbal. We FaceTime her every
that's
day.
great.
She's really, she's not completely self-sufficient anymore, but she's doing,
But she had a
Really
stroke
well.
and she's doing okay.
and she's doing okay.
Yeah.
So they go to Michigan to see her often. And so I'll have time where I'm at the house alone, which being an idiot that I am, I just like work my butt off
Oh,
the
yeah?
entire time. But I inherently get more sleep, but then I feel overslept.
Yeah.
Because I
Uh-huh.
slept like 7 hours. You know what I mean?
And the metric of change isn't that much, but for some reason, that
No.
extra hour, you're just like, oh, what did we talked to?
I feel all foggy and
yeah,
like,
we talked to Philip with Gumbo to Go last week, and his in-laws like took their kid for the week. And it was like, yeah, first day we were good. Second day, I don't know if I put on pants. Third day, I didn't leave the bed because like they're just so focused at all times that to not have the routine that a kid needs. They just looked up and were like, oh, we didn't do anything today. This is not what we had planned today at all.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you can lean super hard, work constantly, or like, oh, so wait, I slept till 8? How did like
Did nothing.
how does this work out?
Yeah. Being in Charleston for that festival, the second time that I have left them,
Yes.
which was the first time that my kid, in her when she was conscious, because last time I had left for 15 hours, she was, a couple months old. In her consciousness, like was so confused, you know, because any time that she's left and she understands because she's going somewhere, but every time it's like I am part of the house.
Yes.
Like I am.
You're a constant.
Yeah, I'm like the couch. I am always in the house. You know, so she kind of lost her mind, and so I kept FaceTiming and checking in with them. But I had the morning we got there, woke up before everybody else, because as you do, I'm like, well, it's 7, time to get, I slept in. Wow. The day is gone.
How have I not eaten breakfast yet?
Yeah. And so I walked to a coffee shop and was, sending some emails and doing some work and doing all that. And then I was on a call on the way back, and it was like maybe a mile back to the house that we were staying at. And I pride myself on my sense of direction. I, didn't grow up in the middle of the woods, but close to the middle of the woods. And so like
woods adjacent.
Woods adjacent, So like I pride myself on my sense of direction, but like I just kind of got twisted around in this neighborhood, and I was like, oh man, I'm lost. I gotta look where I am. I'm like, no, I don't. I have nowhere to be. Nobody's gonna die. And I just walked for so long. Finally, I had to my phone was dying. Like I had to text everybody like, yo, where's this house? Where are we at? And I was like way off and who knows where. But it was like so great to just be lost for a while. Like nobody.
And everything was fine too.
Nobody died.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like it took me a while I love hanging out with people who don't have kids, and they're like, do you want to go get dinner? Or like, do you want to come over for dinner? And I'm like, yeah. So I eat dinner at 5, sometimes 4:45, because if my kid wakes up at 6:30, by 7 they've had breakfast, and then by 11 it's been 4 hours. So I eat lunch around 11:30, and then by the time it's 5, I haven't eaten in almost like 6 hours. I'm really hungry, so I can meet up at 7. I need some snacks. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I never understood why my parents ate so early until I became a parent.
Yeah.
But I had other kids that were like, I don't eat until 7. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
You're weird.
Yeah. No, same with us. It's like, I was like, for the first year or so, I was like, no, maybe it was like a pride thing. I'm like, I don't eat that early. And so like, we would eat after we put Georgia to sleep. And my wife was like, this does not work.
This is not a good flow.
Not sustainable.
So so now it's like, we eat it, 5:30 or 6.
Pretty much.
And it's great.
Yep.
We still have friends, because in our friend group, most people don't have kids currently. And so, it happens less and less now, but people are like hitting me up at 6, like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, well, I'm doing bath time in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So my night's on its way out.
Pretty much.
It's getting done. They're like, what do you mean? It's like still afternoon. I'm like, nope, already ate dinner.
Already ate dinner.
Done. Yeah.
Actually, ate dinner, waited an hour, ate a little dessert. Now I'm here.
Yeah, dishes are done. Yeah.
I think in one of your episodes, you talked about like one piece of advice someone would have told you about parenting is how many meals you eat standing up after everyone else has already eaten all their food.
Yeah. How many meals you eat 30 minutes later than you wanted to standing up cold.
Basically.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Or I feel like if I go to someone's house and like, do you need a chair? I'm like, I'm just going to sit on the floor. They're like, oh, you need to sit on the floor. I'm like, no, a kid's going to run up to me and ask me to do something. And if I sit on the chair, I'm going to lean down this far anyway to hear what they're saying. I'm going to sit on the floor.
I'm just getting ready.
I don't care. Let's just cut out the middleman of the chair, give it to someone else. Like, no, you don't have to sit on the floor. I'm like, just give me a pillow. I don't know. This is where I'm going to sit.
Yeah,
like, I don't care.
It's cool. Yeah.
And stuffing your face as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like whenever kids were on earlier nap schedules and like they were about to wake up like around noon, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to heat this up at 11:30. Eat this as fast as I can, because the second this kid wakes up, I'm just going to have to hold him for like 10 minutes as they wake up anyway, and I don't want to eat food one-handed right now, so I'm just going to eat it right now, and I don't care, because this value system is really weird right now.
Yeah. Oh, man, the amount of stuff I don't care about anymore is incredible.
Yes.
It's actually like very freeing. It's like, oh, man, all this stuff used to matter, and it just doesn't at all. I like, if there's no kids menu at a restaurant, I don't order. I'm just gonna eat what my kid doesn't.
Yep,
it's like basically just garbage duty. Like, oh, whatever. Cool.
Just a vulture.
I'm having this weird assortment of stuff. That's fine. This is what I'm eating.
You do map it out though. Like, if I go to Chick-fil-A I always get a large fry because no matter what happens, my kids are going to eat most of my fries. And I've had the moments where I'm sitting there, I'm like, but I wanted those fries.
Yeah.
I'm like, Devin, if you pay an extra 50 cents, you don't get mad at your kids for eating food. It costs 50 cents to not be a jerk to your kids.
That's it.
Order the large fries.
Yeah.
But it took me like a year before I realized like it's going to happen. So just do it.
Right, just plan for it.
Just don't. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
It's all trial and error, man.
Pretty much.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And then kids are very good about as soon as you think you have things figured out, they're like, but hey, check this out. It's going to change.
Yep.
Here we go. You're like, okay.
And then you're like, oh, sleep regression. Now I'm like checking out 20 books from the library so I can learn about sleep regression.
Yeah, here we go. Let's go deep on this.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then it's a corkscrew. You know, you go deep and then like you think you get it and it's like, oh, I got to go deeper and I got to go deeper.
Pretty much. But yes, you look up sometimes like, oh yeah, you know what your favorite colors of your kids are. And they're like, I've never liked that color. And you're like, what? I don't even care.
Yeah. See, our kid's not super verbal yet.
Yeah.
So that we're not at that, but it's definitely like things she loved one day, just not, or maybe just an hour later. It's like, no, not that.
No.
It's so talk about creativity.
Yeah.
That's something that clicked. My wife kind of realized it first. She's like, you know, this power struggle or whatever however you're trying to navigate like the bidding war with your kid.
The dynamics, like not power struggle because that implies like negative connotation. But there's like a power struggle between you and your kid.
Yeah, there's like a little bit, and so like you know, my wife is like, you just got to be as creative as possible, and it's kind of like, and it shifted the mindset for me. It's like, oh, this can be kind of fun to like try ways for it to work. As long as you're not talking about the middle of the night, then you're just like, this is
very different. Yep. Between the hours of 5:45 and about 7 p.m., I'll do my best to be creative, make up games, think of it from different angles.
Yep.
But if it's 7:01, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it's like you are supposed to be asleep. This is my time.
This is my time to not be responsible.
Yeah, this is the time that I just absolutely deflate on the couch. Like, because there's a lot of times that I'll have to like go back and do some work after or whatever. But inevitably, it's 20 minutes of me just like on the couch, just like brain dead. You know, my wife will ask me a question. I'm like, we both kind of understand where it's like,
It's that weird thing of like, if my wife is out of town and I'm doing everything, like I don't sit down unless I'm okay with how the house looks. Yeah. So if it's like, okay, Devin, you haven't done dishes yet. You haven't like loaded up the dishwasher. If you sit down now, are you okay with the fact that you didn't do the dishes and you didn't do the dishwasher? Yes. Go sit down. No?
Yeah.
Go do the dishes.
Go do it.
Go do it. Because I've done that before. Like, I haven't made lunches for tomorrow yet. Well, I'll just sit down for 5 minutes. No, you won't.
Yeah.
The second you sit down, you're done.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
and stop lying to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not better than this.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. It's like, okay, I really don't want to do this right now, but it's going to be like the ball is already rolling right now, so I might as well just like grit my teeth and bear it for another 20 minutes.
Yep.
And if your wife is out of town, you do not want her to come back to a whole bunch of dirty dishes, a whole bunch of dirty laundry, and the house a mess.
Which my wife has told me multiple times, like, I don't care. You just take care of 3 kids. Like,
yeah, exactly.
My value system is all of our kids, like, relatively happy and still alive and did the stuff we told them we would do while I was gone. Yes? Cool. I can help you do dishes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're here to help me? Oh, okay.
Cool.
Right. Partnership. Okay, got it. That's how this works.
Yeah. The calculus has changed a little bit since we had a kid. But one of the most valuable things, because my wife and I lived together for, 12 years before we had a kid. So it was a long time. And somebody told me, they're like, you don't have to clean the whole house when they come back in. Just pick like the 3 things that they look for to determine if the house is clean or not, and clean those places.
Do that. Oh, strategic. I like that.
Smart.
Nice.
Yep.
I never did it. I was never that smart. I just cleaned everything, you know, I guess out of anxiety. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, not wanting to be judged. But
once you get the momentum of cleaning going, you just keep it going.
Yeah.
And future you says, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's a thing. I think about future me so much now. You know, it's like
you do though.
It's I have to. You know, like it's I
current me is exhausted, so I can't trust him.
Yeah, exactly. What's gonna make tomorrow easy? I'm just
basically
perpetually thinking about what's gonna make tomorrow easier.
Yep.
Which is funny because then tomorrow is not going to be easy because I'm going to be thinking about Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's
Well,
just like,
as a parent, what you're really doing, I don't know if I'm making things easier, if I'm just making things maintained. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's not like your standards are shifted so differently. I'm just like, okay, cool. Do we have enough food in the fridge to eat all meals tomorrow? Awesome. Cool. Success.
yeah, done. We're
We'll
good.
make it work somehow.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man, I'll count my blessings because grocery shopping is my chore to do.
Okay.
And I do it with Georgia, and she loves it.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun experience.
Yeah, she we go and she knows the people at the grocery store and
Yeah.
they wave. They're like, "Hey, Georgia," we
that's
go
really
the
cute.
same day every week, and I have to go a specific way through the grocery store because we got to start in the produce because then she's gonna snack on berries just long enough for us to get to the aisle with the peanut butter crackers. Or the cheddar bunnies. It's going to be one or the other, whatever it is for the week. But
Yep.
there's a certain order, and then eventually, by the time she's done snacking that, we'll be at the point where she can get like a string cheese. And then she'll have that. And
Man, you got it down pat.
I
think you might like systems and organization.
It's
just
that.
a little
It's-
bit.
it's definitely
just
that.
maybe a little bit.
I have our grocery list. I have it
No.
labeled, filled out, because we just have like a iPhone note,
Yeah, yeah.
that we
Yep.
put stuff on. But I have bolded produce and then meat, groceries,
Oh, man.
because that's the order that I have to go through.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I did that because if my wife just puts it on there, just however she thinks in this beautifully scattered creative mind of hers, I'm gonna miss it because it's not
It's not in your system.
well, because it's it's not gonna be it is not my system. I'll be like, okay, cool, broccoli. Oh, great. Next is bread. I got to go get bread, and then I'll zigzag around and I'm gonna forget something.
So I grocery shop the way your wife thinks. I just show up at the grocery store.
You
and
draw star patterns
I
through the whole store,
universe, what are we eating this week? Let's just see what happens. And so I go grocery shopping with the kids. It also legitimately helps me not be like, okay, but I need to, because if I made a list like that, I'd be like, no, I need to go to produce next. I need to do this next. I would be really I need to do this in this order.
Yeah.
So just showing up and being like, all right, what seasonings do I got at home? All right, I got to make at least this many meals. Yeah, I'll figure it out. And I just do that. So my wife doesn't go grocery shopping with me. I'll go sometimes all three kids.
Yeah.
And we'll just run around the grocery store for
Does
30
it take
minutes.
Oh, just 30 minutes? I was gonna say, are you there for a couple hours?
The universe speaks to me quickly.
Yeah, okay. God,
See,
the universe is caffeinated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been taking your espresso shots.
Yeah, great.
But that's how I grocery shop. Is I just show up and I'm like, I know I need bread, I know I need proteins, and I need vegetables. These are usually the ones I like, and I have a constant memory of what's in our pantry at all
Yeah.
times.
Do you get everything in each section, or do you constantly
God,
go
no.
back and forth, back and forth? Because I go.
I visit.
Yes.
It's like I'm like, hey, poultry section. I was just here a little bit ago.
Yep.
Don't know if you remember me, but I
Yep.
forgot all these other things.
I'll
I'm gonna
walk
start
right
grabbing
past
them now.
something.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place, and I'm always looking up like, where the F is this supposed to be at?
Yeah.
I was just here last week, and I
Yep.
totally forgot where the freaking coffee was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm the one when you hear the kids giggling and running around in the store, and the dad's in the next aisle, being like, "You still alive?"
Yeah. Yeah. You
That's
good?
more me.
Yeah.
You good? Is that your brother crying or you crying? Both.
Yeah.
I'll walk over.
Yeah.
I'll walk
Okay,
over.
okay.
That's cool.
I think for me, there's just this crippling anxiety that George is going to start to freak out
Yeah, of
at
course.
a certain point. So it's like, we got to get through here and got to move.
Yep.
And then, I don't want to show up and be like, oh, we forgot everything that
Yeah.
we need.
I usually, if I'm about to go grocery shopping, I'll be like, all right, just tell me what you think tell me what you specifically need around the house, because I'm going to get those first.
Yeah.
Because if I don't get those first,
It's
no,
gone.
It's not happening.
Do you write it down or can you
I
remember
do it in a note, usually if my wife sends it to
yeah.
me. Everything else is just in my head.
Yeah, improvising.
Basically.
Yeah.
I'm just jazzing.
Yeah, you're like the Miles Davis of grocery shopping.
We
Nice
have-
and chill. Throw a little bit over here.
Yeah.
We have an app called AnyList,
Oh, yeah.
and she can put something on it through her app, and it syncs with mine, and it syncs with Alexa. So we could be
nice.
chilling in the even in Ada's room, and say, Alexa, add this to the shopping list.
Yeah.
And then we have it on.
And
his
it's right
phone.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I just go off vibes. So
Yeah.
whenever I bake all this stuff, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have this at home. Yeah, I can bake this at home. And
Yeah.
if not, then I'll to me, grocery shopping's an adventure to go on with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So how Metro works, my middle child's in pre-K. Pre-K gets out at 2 p.m. All the other grades get out at 3 p.m. So I have an hour gap in between picking up kids to do something. So if I forgot something in the grocery store, I'll just go to the grocery store. Like
slick.
Josh, our like 20-month-old, will literally want to get out of the cart so he can help me push the cart around, which is an adorable scene.
Yeah.
So like he's not freaking out. He's not losing his mind. He's literally like standing and looking up at me as he pushes the cart to help me out. So I'm like, why is this a negative experience for people?
Yeah.
This is pretty cute.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky that this works out well.
Man, Georgia likes that sometimes. More often than not, she wants to push by the handle.
Oh,
so that's me holding her and kind of pushing the cart as she's pushing the cart, and then I got to steer it.
Yeah,
you know, which is
that's a
cute for
workout.
about it's cute for about a quarter of an aisle, and then you're like, I'm done.
Okay, if that was the case, my efficiency monster would override, and then I would create the list. Then I would do everything else.
See, like if we go through in this order, she stays like super happy and she loves it, and it's cool, and I don't forget anything, and it's like great. Yeah. And, I'll like improvise a little bit in there. I'll be like, oh, let's get that.
You'll
that's
riff.
cool. Yeah. Because I also do most of the cooking too. So I'm like,
cool.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's fun.
I do all of the cooking.
Yeah.
So like, because I'm like, I'm at home and I like it. I care about cooking and food a lot. So like, why not let me take lead on all of it? And my wife was like, that's fine. I'm okay with not thinking about any of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also in the back of my head. I was like, okay, cool. Whenever I want to make this later, oh, you have to buy that now. Buy it now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's great. It's we eat a lot of like kids meals at our house. Like we'll have like a nice meal here and there, but it's a lot of like, oh, we're gonna have mac and cheese and broccoli, like all of us. We're just making a lot of it. Here we go.
I use an air fryer pretty consistently, and just have like the Sam's Club bags of like Dino nuggets and like mini corn dogs and stuff. I'll do a lot of like, I'll make I'll do like a big order of Porter Road Butcher for like Heather or my wife and I to eat, in which I'll like thaw that out and I'll make us something that's nice, and then the girls will just be like, you wouldn't eat this anyway, so I'm just gonna make you chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. Yeah, because then everyone's happy.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that too. Like we'll have like pork chops or something, and then like.
But also, chicken nuggets and mac and cheese is really good.
It is really good. That's the thing.
Chicken nuggets. I can't think of the grocery.
Publix.
Not
Kroger,
Publix.
Aldi.
No.
Sam's Club. Costco.
No.
Turnip truck.
No. Gosh darn it! It's red.
Piggly Wiggly?
No.
Harris Teeter.
Yeah.
The
Piggly Wiggly,
hairy
man.
teat.
No. Gosh, what is it called? Trader Joe's. My God. Trader Joe's has the best chicken nuggets. Check them out.
Okay.
They are the closest thing you can get to the Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Aaron, we're about to put the episode to bed.
All right.
Months ago, I sent you the 5 questions just in discussing podcasts. So I gave you the answers to the test beforehand. Now we get to see how you do and how bad your memory really is.
Oh, boy.
Justin, once he finds it on his phone, will ask the first question.
These are the same questions you ask everybody?
Every guest. Yep. We started doing it like a month or two ago just because I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to end the podcast as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes,
let's
first question. What was your kid's backup name? Or did you not have one?
Oh. I remember there was a list. There was like 7 girls' names and 1 boy's name.
Okay.
I don't remember any of them. It just like it became very clear to me that we should pick Georgia.
Gotcha.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I remember thinking it was a grandma name.
Georgia?
Yep.
Okay.
Like, that kind of sounds like a grandma.
Grandma Georgia.
Yeah. But I can't think of anything else. I can't think of a single other backup one.
It's okay.
Then
I forgot my kid's middle name, so it's okay.
Then now you get question 1A. Why did you choose Georgia as the name?
So, Georgia was on the list because it's a family name on both sides. Like George, my dad's middle name is George. There's a few other Georges, and then there's a lot of Georges on my wife's side of the family.
Okay.
And my wife's grandmother's favorite artist was Georgia O'Keeffe. There was just a lot of connections.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, it was my in-laws' pick.
Oh.
Like they're like
Georgia's
like Georgia.
a good one.
They kept referring to the baby as Georgia. And I was like, come on,
They
like
hedged the bet.
it's like we're not picking that. We're not picking that. And then honestly, like when my mother-in-law had a stroke, it was like, we got to just name her Georgia.
Yeah,
I was like, let's do that.
Okay.
So
next question. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
I mean, first thing that comes to mind is Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yes.
I don't know if that's true, but that's the first one that came to mind.
That's part of it. Is just who did you think of first?
Yeah. And then the dad in Bluey is pretty
Bandit.
rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bandit's pretty rad.
That's fair.
No one will ever live up.
No, he's too high
To
of a
him.
standard. No one
Yeah.
can
Oh,
be
yeah.
Bandit.
No.
No.
He's a badass. All right, next question. Least favorite kid show or movie?
Coco Melon.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that one.
It's
so bad.
horrible.
It's crack for kids.
It is. It straight is. I was talking about, TV being like an addiction.
Yeah.
She's the worst after she's seen Coco Melon.
Yes.
Like we can't scroll past it fast enough. Like, she's just like, she sees it. She's like, yeah, that and points. And it's like, no, we're not going to watch that.
Yeah.
I watch it. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even get it. Like, it makes it's
But
dumb.
it fires something in her brain where she's like, this is entertainment.
It is.
And
yeah.
now I need more.
Yeah. Like all the colors. I don't know. It's
Yeah. It's
hands
the
down.
worst.
Coco Melon. Hands down.
Is there a toy that Georgia plays with that you actually like playing with also? Besides her percussive instruments that you use on your records?
I like a lot of them. A lot of them are fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, my dad, being a woodworker, just made her like an insane kitchen that's nicer than our kitchen
cool.
and like mailed it down from Maine.
Oh, okay.
Like fridge, freezer, working sink,
What?
an oven, like so that's pretty but
right.
that was like
You
opened that
need-
up last week.
Need to take a picture of that and send that to
Yeah,
us.
will
That
do.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Next question. What moment of your kid's life are you most excited to be a part of?
Oh, I don't know. Kind of it's been all of them,
Yeah.
really, which I assume is probably like a common question, common answer.
Yeah.
There hasn't been like one that really sticks out. I think lately it's been like riding a bike or like playing soccer. I grew up playing soccer all the
Okay,
time,
yeah.
and like I can imagine that like having to go to games and practices all the time will get old. But like
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of
Yeah.
oh, that'd be fun. But I'm kind of there's like a every phase is different. I'm kind of excited for all of them.
Yeah. Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Those are the questions. You passed the test.
I did.
Yep.
I and for the record, I remembered zero
Yes.
of those. Like not a
Oh
one.
man, I don't know if that's a testament to your memory or questions. I'm not sure.
No,
Which
that's
one is-
that is complete sleep deprivation.
There you go.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to follow you, like what's promote your Instagram handle? You can do your own. You can do the other 22 hours. If we want to
Yeah.
follow you and know more about you, how do we do it?
Yeah. Instagram is kind of my platform of choice. It's the one I look at. It's the one I interact with. So my personal one is Shafer-Haiss, which good luck with that.
Yeah.
You can look at. I guess you can probably look at the title of this episode.
Yeah.
My name will be there. It's just my last name without a hyphen. Or you can just search The Other 22 Hours, which is my podcast, and I'm on there, and my wife's on there, and you can link to all of us there.
Sweet. Perfect.
Awesome.
Aaron, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
This is
man.
so great.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thanks for the cinnamon roll. It was
Yeah,
delicious.
you're welcome. Good.
Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.